Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late. Man, this is the latest I think I've ever been, 2 whole minutes. But being that this is kind of an impromptu live stream, I finished doing some chores. So then I was like, hey, let's go hang out with the AP community before dinner later on. So, how's everyone doing? I do want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, about how this is not going to be a soft landing, but quite the opposite of what the Federal Reserve and all of the government financial pundits are talking about. And it is time that people realize that they have to get ready for very tight times. And it's kind of worrisome when you think about it. Because if you've seen some of like the reaction videos that I've done to Americans, talking about inflation, how it's affecting them and all, a lot of people are already going through somewhat of a hard landing and what's going to happen when it gets worse. And I think that we have a long ways to go before it's at its climax. But looking around and taking a look at some of the statistics of where Americans are nowadays as far as their financials, if it gets worse, it's going to be really, really bad. So, on top of that, I like to talk about anything that you all want to talk about today. All right. So, thank you for being here. Let me say hello to a few of you, being that this is an impromptu live stream. I got to make sure I say hello. Hello, Evita. Jan is in the house. Hello, Snow Angel. Big Bad John. How you doing? Mad Max is here. How are you doing? A cloudy day in Maryland. Well, I'll tell you what. I was outside for a few minutes and I'm reviewing this one item that is pretty awesome. It's the first time that a company has sent me this, and I can't tell you what it is yet because I still have to spend about a week or so playing around with it because I think it has a very great application for prepping. And but I'm going to put out that review probably in the next week or two. No, it's not a solar generator. All right. But it's around the same kind of stuff. It's not a solar generator. I know people are going to ask that, but it's really, really cool. And actually, when I was testing this, it's cloudy outside and now it's decided to get sunny. So after this, I may have to go out and put away some stuff. We are getting ready for winter here now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. What's the temperature outside? That's outside, right? Yep. 55 degrees outside. And it is 1 p.m. and the sun is out. So 55 degrees, the sun is out from behind the clouds. And we are getting ready for winter. I feel it in the air. I can feel, remember that song? I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Belle Crenal, how are you doing? All the way from South Africa. Well, welcome, Belle. Good to have you here. It's 11 p.m. in South Africa. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Juan John, 2469. How are you doing? Sandwich is in the house. Lily Munster, how you doing? Open forum today, ladies and gentlemen. So any questions that you want to ask about anything, it's open forum. Actually, that's what it is anyways whenever I do a live stream. Sometimes I have something to talk about, but mainly it's for you, really. So I'm wondering how many of you saw that video that I put up this morning following up on what's going on in New Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to experience more and more of what's going on in New Mexico right now, or at least in the Albuquerque area. I don't believe it's statewide. But when you think about what's going on there right now about the Second Amendment problems that they're having over there with their governor pretty much saying, yes, I know that it's unlawful. I know that it's against the Constitution, but by edict, just because I am the governor, I'm going to go ahead and say that there's a medical emergency, and I'm going to go ahead and suspend the Second Amendment for 30 days. Just because I feel like it, just because you elected me and I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, it obviously doesn't mean very much when anyone that's in any kind of a position that yields power can say, let's just go ahead and suspend the Constitution. And the problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Let me tell you right now, is that it's not about the Second Amendment. Anyone that's against guns, and let's say anyone that doesn't want guns at all, that thinks that guns should be abolished, that only cops should have guns, that only soldiers should have guns, that only the government should have guns, anyone that thinks that if you say the word gun, Oh, that should be abolished, right? This is not about firearms. What this governor in New Mexico is doing is not about firearms. What you have to ask yourself is, it's about the Constitution. It's about your natural born rights. If she gets away with suspending the Second Amendment for 30 days, what's to say she can't get away with suspending it for 6 months? Or what's to say that she can't get away with suspending any one of our other rights, God-given rights, that were put into the Constitution in order so that the government can know what rights to defend? They weren't put into the Constitution by the government. All right. The government doesn't give us our rights. They're there so that the government can know what rights they have to defend. It's the government's job to make sure that your Second Amendment, your First Amendment, Third, Fourth, Fifth, the entire Bill of Rights, and therefore the ones that were added on, that they are not violated. That's what they're there for. They're a playbook for the government to say, hey, we can't touch this. So what's it going to be next time? Next time is a person going to take their own lives because they were harassed and someone called them ugly? Let's say, is that going to be the next emergency that she's going to think of, that she's going to say, oh my goodness, this person took their lives because they were called ugly on a post somewhere. So we're going to have to go ahead and suspend the First Amendment only for 30 days, ladies and gentlemen. Remember how it started back in the late 30s with the little man with the mustache back in Germany. First, he told the people, hey, listen, if you have children that have a mental disability, we are going to take them so that we can treat them for their own good. Ladies and gentlemen, have you all read up on what happened to them? And then they said, listen, crime is out of control. We have to go ahead and have you register your firearms in order so that we can track them. That way we can find the bad people and you're going to be safer. And the people were like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and do it. Boom, boom. But you have to understand is that the people were not given a choice. They weren't told, hey, what do you think about doing this? No, they were just told, hey, this is the reason we are doing this. Just like she's saying, this is the reason why I am doing this by edict. Just let it be. All right. And then going back to Germany, and then the people were told, hey, listen, you have to turn in your firearms, because if you don't turn them in, then our society is not very safe. And the people turned them in. Well, let's go ahead and make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen. What ended up happening is that over 9 million people lost their lives because they kept towing the line, because they kept trusting that one entity that is supposed to be there working for us, government. That's why I've always been so critical of government, is because if you look throughout history, most of the atrocities that have ever been committed have been by government onto their people. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why things like this, like what's happening in New Mexico, should be on every single news in the country. And everyone should be screaming at this lady, like, what are you doing? Whether you agree with it or not, because one day it's going to be those rights that you hold dear and near. So right now you're screaming. So right now, people that are against the 2A, they're screaming about it. One day it's going to be your rights where you're not going to be able to scream, because it's that right that's going to be taken away. Well, in a free society, ladies and gentlemen, we have to bear with those things that we don't agree with. It's okay to disagree. Think about what a boring world this would be if we all agreed with each other with everything we said. Think about how uninnovative life would be if we all agreed with everything we said. If we didn't have mavericks saying, no, wait a minute. What if I built a company to put stuff out in space, and it's going to cost me about 1/6 of what it costs the government to do it? Because government, as you know, is not very good at staying on budget. But private companies, for every dollar they spend, they have to justify every single dollar they spend. Because if they spend $1, they have to say, well, is that going to bring me in $1.10 or $1.20 that I spent? The government doesn't care. The government just spends. and they know that they have a group of people that they can tax even more and more every time they need more money. So the government just spends. They don't care how much things cost. Just take a look at the 31 or so trillion dollars of unaccounted expenses by the Pentagon. You don't hear that in the news either, that the Pentagon has about 31 trillion or so dollars of expenses that are unaccounted, meaning they can't say where the money went. They know that the money was spent, but they can't say where it went. Right, ladies and gentlemen? And that's a fact. That's an actual fact. Right? I think it's Professor Skidmore from the University of Michigan, I believe, who discovered that. And thank goodness that he brought it public, where he talked about it in public, or he may not be with us anymore had he kept that private and let them know about it. But anyways, a private company, it's a lot more efficient than government. So that's what happens, is that we lose innovation. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be interesting to see where that 2A stuff goes with New Mexico. But I hope that the word is getting out and that people know about it in other states other than just New Mexico, or other than just within the prepping community or truther community. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something else. I know I'm all over the place today. You need to support your truther channels and your prepping channels and your channels where people are out there talking the truth about the economy and financial news and stuff like that, because those channels are being suppressed greatly. I mean, they are being suppressed by the algorithm. All right, that's what I'll say. I've talked about this channel here being suppressed very much. It is rarely recommended to the level that it used to be. Right, and that's not something that you're doing. But the thing is if you don't see it, you're not going to click on it. All right, more than likely, even if you're subscribed to a channel that you watch every day, if you don't see that thumbnail from that new video, you're not going to click on it. More than likely, you're not, or at least a high percentage of people will not. I was watching the Economic Ninja earlier today, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday during his live stream. But he was showing the analytics on his channel. In the back, he's like, look at this. They're like not recommending anything, where he's used to getting a whole bunch of views, right? Because finance channels, if you click like the Economic Ninja does, you get a lot of views. And he was showing us, because he started talking about some things here in the last week that probably the powers that be don't want you to talk about. And that's probably programmed into the algorithm that say, hey, if you're talking about this, let's go ahead and do a little something to change the way that people are looking at this. So his channel, his views just started plummeting. So if you have channels that you go to on a regular basis and they're truther channels trying to put the truth out there, if they're channels about preparedness like this one is, share the content, give it a like, leave a comment, do all of those things that you know that are going to allow that channel to get as much of an advantage to be seen by others as you can. Believe it or not, I always mention let an ad or two run through. Donate 15 to 30 seconds of your time, because doing that also supports the algorithm. YouTube wants to get paid just as much as the creators do. So YouTube knows that if people are watching the entire video, if you watch the entire video, that really helps a lot. Just let it play through. YouTube likes that. Why? Because they're in the business of making money just like every other business is. And if you let an ad run through, they're going to like that. They're going to recommend your channel even more, your videos even more. So yeah, support these channels, because how many of you rely on the mainstream media or the legacy media for the truth? Let me know. How many of you rely? Say I do. Put in all caps, I do. All right. If you rely on the mainstream media or legacy media, as they like to be called now, for the truth. I am probably about 15 minutes behind, so I'm going to bring it all the way down. A9, how you doing? Dumpster Ahoy, how are you doing? I'm going to bring it down in a hurry, okay? The Survival Buzz, how you doing? That way, if you all have any questions or anything that you want to talk about, we can get to it. Doggone it, how are you? RG71, good to see you. Patricia, how are you? Linda Bob is in the house. How are you doing? Let's see who's that. Jennifer Cruz is in the house. How you doing, Jennifer? Good to see you. Evita, say hello to JR in case I forgot. All right, because I've been blabbing so much that I forgot what I even saw, what I even said. Excuse me. Let's see. And I do appreciate every single one of you, ladies and gentlemen, that are always here. I mean, that is so awesome. We do good things together, to tell you the truth. I was talking to someone today. I was like, man, we've done so many good things, since we started this community here in the AP community. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. Me too. How are you? Good to see you. Troll is here. Is that Kevin? Kevin Grip is in the house. How you doing, Kevin? JT is in the house. She said is here. Is that Village Homestead? Emmanuel Bravo. How you doing, Village Homestead? Emmanuel, how are you guys? Doggone it is in the house. Karen Collier, how are you? Let's see. JC Neal, Storm Weather. Let's bring it on down some. Alphonse Jolly, how you doing, Alphonse? Good to see you, brother. Let's see. Thank you very much, Samantha. Got jumped or gas jumped 40. Wow. Did it really? I haven't been into town for the last day. Well, actually, I was into town earlier, but I didn't pass by a gas station. Or I guess I should have said I haven't filled up in the last few days. But anyway, Samantha says gas jumped 40 cents overnight here. $3.99 a gallon isn't the worst in the nation at all. But wow, 40 cents, that's 10% overnight, or a little over 10% overnight. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that I see a day when you're going to be like, when you're going to be saying the same comment, but in $1 or $2. You're going to be like, wow, gas jumped to $1.50 overnight, or gas jumped $3 overnight. Because we're going to see a day where we're paying multiple dollars, $10, $15 for gasoline. And remember also that it's not really the amount that you're paying, the nominal amount. It's how much more labor is it costing you for that jump in price. That's what it is, because most Americans, or the average American's real income has gone down for the last 3 years. And what I mean by real income is just that it now takes you more labor, more time in order to be able to buy the same stuff. So even if you're making $25 an hour today, where last year you were making $20 an hour, that $25 that you're making is buying you less than what that $20 was buying you last year, which means that your time is being devalued. That's what that means. So you have to look at it that way first and foremost. That's what really matters, because now you have, back before the 60s, I think it was, or before the 70s, let's say 60s, 70s, it only took one person in a house to earn a living, to be able to, raise a family, raise your garden variety family of 2 or 3 children, send them to college, have a running vehicle, have a home that's yours, et cetera, be able to retire with dignity. Only took one person working. And it didn't necessarily take that person to have to be a professional of any kind. Back in the day, you used to be car salesman, you used to be a door-to-door salesman, you used to be a butcher, all of these jobs that didn't really require a higher education, and you were still able to live a life of dignity and retire with dignity. And today, ladies and gentlemen, even with 2 working in the household at the same time, they're finding it very difficult to keep their heads above water. If you are a one household income family, and you're getting by, then you are very blessed. You are very blessed, ladies and gentlemen. So count your lucky stars. But even if you are a one household income family and you're getting by, make sure that you're actively preparing in every way possible. Because like I said, it's not going to be a soft landing, ladies and gentlemen. Eventually, we are going to have some harder times than what we are facing now. And the reason I say that is because of BRICS. The BRICS nations, all right, the BRICS summit, and what they will later on call the BRICS plus nations, plus, the original BRICS plus all the nations that came on, that is going to be the end of the world reserve currency as we see it now, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a huge event. I can't tell you when that's going to happen, but it doesn't really matter, because what's going to happen is that systematically, either slowly or medium pace, and then in the end fast, the dollar is going to continue to lose more and more value. Why? Because less and less people are going to need it. Less and less central banks are going to have it as reserves, because they are going to need it less and less as they join these BRICS bloc and trade with one another, either with one current BRICS currency or bilaterally with their own currencies with whatever nation they're trading with. It's just a matter of time. And we are going to be left out, or we're leaving ourselves out in the dark. All right? Because we're going to end up having a weaker dollar trading with nations that have resources, that make stuff that we need. So eventually, we will eventually become a nation where we manufacture again, but we can't turn that switch on overnight. It's going to take a lot of years for us to bring back manufacturing to the United States of America at a level in which we can sustain ourselves. And how do you see that happening if we have no energy, ladies and gentlemen? Remember, energy is an economy. Any economy where there's less energy usage means that their economy is going down. So how are we going to do that with no energy? And that's exactly what they're doing now, is trying to take away our energy. And I'm telling you right now, all of these solar panels, which I love solar, all right? You all know that if you've been following me for a while, because some people get triggered, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk bad about solar panels and windmills and stuff like that. But all of these solar panels that we have right now, or that we can make in the next 10 years, it's not enough to power America. Sure, Elon Musk said that if we build solar panels, and I think I forgot the size of the state, but if we had an open field, I think it was the size of one state that he mentioned. I forgot which one. But if it was full of solar panels, that we can power the entire country. That sounds great, but do we have the solar panels? Do we have that infrastructure? Then why are we taking away our ability to create energy out of fossil fuels? If we don't already have all of those things in place to be able to replace the energy that we need now that is provided with fossil fuels, if we don't have all those solar panels and windmills, whatever it is in place, then why are we getting rid of fossil fuels? Why are we not allowing companies to drill more fuel out of the ground and instead importing our fuel, making it cost more and using it as an oxymoron, I would say, because when you import fuel, all right, because we make about 10 to 12 million barrels a day here in the US. We drill about 10 to 12 million barrels a day. Well, we use 20. Where's the other 8 coming from? Well, it's being drilled from somewhere else. So how's that global warming stuff working? How's that climate change stuff working? That green, that green stuff working? How's that working if we're using the same amount of oil that we used in the last 5-10 years? Actually, we're using a little bit more. How's that working if we're using the same amount, but we're just importing it from somewhere else? We do live in a dome. The earth does have one atmosphere that goes around the whole thing. So if we're not drilling it here to save the planet, but we're still using just as much oil as we were last year and the year before, if not a little bit more, then how the heck is it saving the planet, ladies and gentlemen? All we're doing is spending even more fuel to transport that oil to the United States if we're importing it. So those of you that think that this climate change Green Deal thing is going to save the planet, first of all, the planet has nothing to do with it, right? All they're doing is finding a reason to keep you scared, to take your money, to tax you more, so that one day when you have your CBDC in hand and they say, hey, listen, we have to charge you a tax credit because you're eating too much meat, all right? And cows fart, that you say, oh, okay, no problem. I'll pay that tax credit. Just like the good little slave that you've been programmed to be. All right, ladies, I have no idea why I even got into that conversation. That's how long I've been babbling. Let me bring it back down. Let's see. All right, I'm seriously going to bring it back down and see if you have any questions. Oh, I know how I got into it. We were talking about how we're going to have a hard landing. I was just taking a look, and someone sent me an article earlier today, and they showed me that that China in the last year had gotten rid of about 10% or more than 10% of their U.S. Treasuries. Actually, I think I have it pulled up here. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Major foreign holders of United States Treasury securities as of April 2023, so not that long ago. And you can see there that Japan is the first one. Japan, those are IOU notes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. Treasuries are IOU notes. So Japan has 1.1 trillion IOU notes that they can use to purchase whatever they want as long as the other party accepts those IOU notes. All right, the treasuries are almost just like dollars, right? So they can purchase oil with those IOU notes if the party that is selling them the oil will accept them. Keyword, will accept them. Remember, Saudi Arabia, the AUE, have joined the BRICS nations, and I would foresee that most of the OPEC nations will also join the BRICS nations. So again, as long as they take the dollars, the treasuries, they can spend them. But what if they don't? All right. China, who had over $1 trillion, I think it was like 1.1, 1.2. They used to be the number one place as far as holders of US dollars or US treasuries in the world. Now they are well below first place, in second place at $869 billion, ladies and gentlemen. In the last year, they've gotten rid of more than 10% of their treasury notes. All right. The United Kingdom, 680. Let's take a look at Japan again, who's sitting at 1.127. I foresee Japan in the near future having to sell off a lot of their treasuries just to try to save their yen, right? Because Japan has been doing some serious quantitative easing for like the last 30 years or so. And in order for them to save their yen, I can see them having to sell off a lot of their US treasuries. All right, so let's take a look at these others. So all others, 459 billion, it says, all others. So everyone. But Belgium, 336. So at these here, like Belgium, that we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, what we have to look at this list is how many people in this list are going to join the BRICS nations and or just trade bilaterally with other BRICS nations. So when you ask yourself, okay, will Belgium do it? I don't know, maybe. Luxembourg, Switzerland, Cayman Islands, Canada, Ireland, Taiwan, India, Brazil. Well, we know that Brazil is going to be is part of the BRICS. We know that India is part of the BRICS. Russia actually got rid of just about all of their U.S. treasuries, obviously, because they were kicked out of the SWIFT system. But what you have to ask yourself when you look at that list is how many of these governments, countries that hold U.S. treasuries are no longer going to need the U.S. treasuries in the amount that they hold. So what are they only going to need? 10%, 20%? What do we trade with them where they will need U.S. treasuries once the BRICS nations are running at full steam ahead? Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. We're very lucky. We're very lucky because we have time. We have time to get prepared. You know, I was talking to my wife yesterday. I was like, man, I was talking to her because I was like, she didn't know that I had given away our freeze dryer. And I was like, yeah, I gave it away. We just don't have any more room. You know, we don't have any more room to put up any more meat. And I was telling her, yeah, we have this many years of meat. We have this many years of nutrient survival, you know, etc. And I'm like, man, we are good as far as food goes, right? There is a point where where if you're lucky enough, like I am, very lucky, to get to a point where I am in the filling in the gaps stage of my preparedness. I'm filling in the gaps. Unless something new comes out that I don't have, that's like a really great preparedness item, yes, I'm going to go grab it. But right now I'm in filling in the gaps of your basic items, especially food items, right? And things like that. So that's where you want to get, because I believe that when this downturn manifests itself, where we can see it, where we're experiencing it, it's not going to be a month or two. It's going to be years, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it'll be years. That is great news, Serious Prepper. That is outstanding news. The New Mexico sheriff told her to pound sand. Thank goodness. I was so upset watching that video, okay? When I saw that law enforcement officer sitting next to her, I'm talking about the New Mexico governor in her press conference. When I saw that law enforcement officer sitting next to her in what looked to me to be a supportive stance, right? Because me, I wouldn't even be there. I would be like, there's no possible way that I'm supporting this. I would be having my own press conference telling the news why I'm not supporting it. And I don't know why it is that government officials get away with not following the law. That in itself should be unlawful. If you're in a public position, it should be unlawful for you to do something that you blatantly know that is against the law. So I don't know why they can't get arrested. You know, I'm not a law enforcement officer, but I don't see why they won't arrest her. They should arrest her for saying, hey, you're under arrest for willfully not following the Constitution, which you said you were going to uphold. You're under arrest for that. Put her in jail. Right? Put anyone in jail that's in a public position that is not following the Constitution, which they swore an oath to uphold. But let's see. Well, yeah, they're going to be coming after. Yeah, Jay Thomas, they're going to be coming after prepper channels. One day, I don't know, this channel may not be here. So who knows? They'll be coming after prepper channels eventually, and they already have, from what I understand. But if you say, yeah, put away some rice, you're done. All right, that'll be part of the community guidelines. Yeah, don't tell people to put away rice or beans, or else you're out. All right, so we'll just have to come up with code words for rice and beans. All right. Thank you, Emmanuel. Pan Pluto, how are you doing? Let's see. Mario, how you doing, Mario? Good to see you. Oh, that's funny. Let's see. Alphonse has a question here while my computer is acting up like always. Let me see. Alphonse says, hey, P, just bought a Bluetti B250 2400 watt for $849. Got it from Bluetti through Amazon. Free shipping for Prime. 2400 watt. I wonder how many watt hours, though. How many watt hours? That sounds like a good price for a 2400 watt inverter, but the watt hours is pretty important. Let me know how many watt hours, because that sounds like a really good price. That's the Bluetti B250. Not very familiar with that one. Let's see. Everyone said I don't. That's good. Let's see. John, how you doing, John? Good to see you, brother. How's your back doing, man? Let's see. John says, check out the new law they are trying to pass in the UK regarding net zero, including forcing entry into your home, £15,000 fine, and up to 12 months in prison for non-compliance. Well, I'll tell you what, John, it's going to take a revolution. In the UK, I think now for how far you've gone, how far you guys are in, it's probably going to take a revolution, like a real one. Right here in the US, we still have a chance, ladies and gentlemen. I know that we've entered the cycle of social unrest. We have entered that cycle. We've also entered into the cycle of major war. But I feel like in the US, we still have a small chance to, maybe not see those things where we would have to actually pick up arms like they did back a couple hundred years back. I think we still have a small chance to avert that. But in the UK, I think there's no more chance in the UK. I think in the UK is going to take a revolution now because you've gone so far into the radical as far as your politicians over there that, man, John, I just think you guys need to get prepared. And I'm sure that there's enough patriots down there where you're all going to have to do the same thing that the colonists did here a couple hundred years ago in order to regain your liberties. Man, that's terrible to have to say that, but it's true. Just look around, ladies and gentlemen. The world has gone insane. And the powers that be have done a great job. When you think about it, those people that have been able to coerce, to brainwash, to program the majority of the population, or maybe a very good part. I can't say the majority, but a very good chunk of the population. Those people that have been able to do this have done a magnificent job. Right? They have done a great job at it. Not saying that what they've done is good, but they've done a good job at it. Even though it's terrible and evil, right? You have to think how talented those people are. And what a shame that they didn't use and are not using their talents to do good. Instead, they're doing it in order to gain more power. Hey, how many of you saw what's going on with I just learned about this a couple of days and I was like, oh my goodness, these people really messed up. I'm going to talk about that next because that's going to be really interesting. How you doing, Craigslist? Good to see you. Hopefully I won't forget. Semperfi One, good to see you. Welcome. Terry, Keely, how you doing? KP? All right, bringing it down, bringing it down. Oh my goodness, I am so far behind. If I miss your question, just ask it again, okay, ladies and gentlemen? Ask it again. Let's see. Fatima Enriquez, how you doing, Fatima? Alaska Gwen, how you doing? Tommy's in the house. Andrew, how you doing? Who is that? Chelsea Houghton? How many years worth of food do you have stored? I think I answered that. I have at least, I would say 1.5 to 2 easily. Easily 1.5 to 2. But then again, you know, when you see something and it looks like a lot of food, it's really not that much. You know, when you see, like, let's say, for example, like a 5-gallon bucket of rice. People, I've had plenty of comments saying that, well, I don't store my rice in 5-gallon buckets because that's a lot of food. But the way I think about it is this: if I ever have to break into my 5-gallon buckets of rice, it's because something really bad has happened. Okay, because when I put away my 5-gallon buckets of rice, I put them away until I need them because something bad is happening, because rice will last 30 years, I would say, minimum. Right. And in 30 years, I probably won't even be here anymore. So my son and my kids can take care of my mess when I leave this earth. Right. But if you are relying on rice for the caloric maintenance that you will need, you know, during a time of crises, and let's say you have a family of 3 or 4, a family of 4, 5-gallon buckets of rice is only like 30 pounds, at the most 30 pounds. So if you're cooking 1 pound of rice per day, which will give each of you a quarter of a pound of rice, you're looking at about 2 servings of rice per person. So you're looking at about, I don't know, 300, maybe 400 calories worth of rice per person. That's just not really a lot. So a 5-gallon bucket, if you can put 30 pounds in it, is only going to last you 25 to 30 days. So it's really not that much. So when you're looking at your stock and you see, oh, I've got 10 5-gallon buckets of rice, you think that's an awful lot, but really you have maybe a year's worth of rice if you're going to be counting on rice as part of your caloric maintenance food, right? So when you look at your food, it may look like a lot because it's in a confined space, but really I like to go by calories, right? Usually your average person in 1 year is, I think it's around 750,000 or so calories in a year. And that's just like the minimum. So I like to go by calories. Let's see. Hey, thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. And good to see you. Patty G, how you doing? Ask, should I cash in my savings bonds? I have some that are over 20 years old. Patty G, any kind of a bond, you know what a bond is? Debt, bondage, debt, right? Any kind of a bond, anything that's paper, anything. Here we go. This is a fake $100 bill, okay? And any bonds, and this is my opinion, I'm not giving you financial advice. I have to say that because I'm on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. But any kind of a bond, all it is a debt note. So this right here is only worth the paper that is written in. Literally, it's only worth the paper that is written in. This right here. So if the dollar devalues in value, right, that bond is also devaluing along with the dollar. And another thing you want to think about is how many layers of bureaucracy is between you and the bond. So if you have a bond, what do you got to do with it? You got to get it. You got to bring it to the bank. They have to agree to cash it, and they have to agree to give you the cash. All right. So how many layers are between you and your actual wealth? And then once you get that cash, what are you going to do with that cash? Are you going to put it into something that's tangible, something that's going to hold its value? Are you going to convert some of it into precious metals, which is what I would do, right? If I have bonds right now, I would cash them all in. If I had bonds, I would cash them all in and go buy gold and silver. That's what I would do. And if I wasn't 100% prepared, I would go get 100% prepared. All right, ladies, and that's what I would do. But you have to do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot be the person who decides what you're going to do with the wealth that you've accrued through your lifetime, because it is your wealth to do what you want to do with it. But the shame of it all is that as you've earned that wealth, i.e., what we call money nowadays, as you've earned that through a lifetime, the government just takes it away whenever it wants by printing it out of thin air, something which you could not do because you had to earn your wealth into existence, unlike the government who prints it into existence, which then devalues what you yourself earned with your hard work. So I hope that gave you some insight on what you could do with that, whether you should or not. Yeah, Kitsy, I actually did a video about that this morning. That there's a couple of representatives that have asked for her impeachment, and that's a great thing. I would love nothing more. I don't know this governor. I've never heard of her until I saw this, and I talked about it. I don't know her at all, but I would love nothing more than to see that governor get impeached and get kicked out of that job, because it would send a good message to all of the other governors that, listen, you can't just make up your own rules. We have a constitution for a reason. I mean, when you play Monopoly, do you make up your own rules? And if you do make up your own rules, probably you win every single time. There's reasons why there are rules. And the Constitution is our playbook that is for the people. It's the playbook that allows us to say, hey, government, you can't do this. And then allows us to redress those grievances with our courts. That's what the courts are there for. Yeah, it's not perfect by any means, but it's worked for this long a time, and it's actually produced the greatest country that, in my opinion, has ever existed as far as personal freedom, and opportunity goes. Okay, bringing it down. Hey, thank you very much, Monica Sherman. That was the Albuquerque police chief next to her left. He's been asking for any sit down and talks about letting the Albuquerque police to be able to do their jobs. I hope by doing their jobs, he means by following the Constitution and not adhering to unlawful orders. Thank you, Monica, by the way. Oh, okay. So that Bluetti, I think that was Alphonse that was talking about that. That Bluetti is 1153 watts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, watt hours. I mean, that Bluetti that we're talking about is 1153 watt hours. For $1,000 or for $900, I think you should get a little more than 1153 watt hours, if that's what the actual amount is. Bluetti is a very good brand, but in all reality, nowadays, when you take a look at solar generators, it's very competitive. And when you take a look at a solar generator, you have an inverter, you have a charge controller, right? You have a battery, and then you have your peripherals, right? Your screen and your buttons. Pretty much what it is, right? So as far as the price goes, I think the price is very competitive nowadays. So if you're going to buy yourself a solar generator, well, let me give you an example. I don't have my 1200 up there. My 1200 is not up there. It's actually on the floor. I'm not sure if you can see it right here. You see that orange right there? That's my 1200. That 1200 has 992 watt hours, I believe it is. I think it's 992 or 997, something like that. But let's just say 1,000 because it's close enough to 1,000. 1,000 watt hours, you can get it for less than $500. All right. So to me, that's a great value. Right. So I really like the Oupes brand. Obviously, I'm always talking about it, and I always have them right here, so you can all see them because it's an awesome brand. And I'm actually going to be reviewing an Oupes solar generator, a new one. It's called the Mega 3. All right. Here pretty soon. I think it's going to be delivered here on Monday. Tomorrow it should be delivered. So I'm very excited to review that one. All-American Prepper, how you doing? Welcome. How you doing, Kathy D? Good to see you. Christy Miller, Pan Pluto, how are you doing? Let's see. Lori's Thrifty Kitchen Pantry. How are you doing, Lori? Ladies and gentlemen, Lori needs our prayers, ladies and gentlemen. Go check out her channel to see what she's going through. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I am so happy to see that you're spending a little bit of your time with us, Lori. I'm so happy to see you. I truly do hope that you're feeling better, all right, or feeling well. Okay, Lori? God bless you. All right, bringing it down some. Oh, the EB240. Okay, there you go, Alphonse. Now I'm with you. You got the EB240. That is a very good machine. A very, very good machine. It's 2,400. Well, you already said it, right? Okay, great. And it was like 900 bucks. It's a great value. It's got its restrictions and limitations. I actually gave my EB240 to Dick from the Alaska Rare Coins. I gave it to him because it was just sitting there. I hadn't used it in a long time. And I got all of my new ones here that I do like them better. They do have a lot more capacity than the EB240. But depending on what you need it for, like let's say you only need it for a refrigerator, great machine. Like if you just need it for a refrigerator, for a standby, great machine. It still has a block charger where it charges slowly with a block, which is fine. All right, because if you're going to use it for your garden variety power outage that lasts 6 hours or 4 hours or maybe even a day, it's a great machine. All right, because 2,400 watt hours, it's 1,000 watt inverter though. All right, so it's only got a 1,000 watt inverter, which is fine, but it's a good machine, and that is a very good price per watt hour to pay for it. But like I was saying, it's the older style machine, so it doesn't have like your high capacity, outputs, high capacity inputs. Like for example, let's compare the 2,400, the EB240 to the where is it? To the Oupes 2,400. Okay, the EB240 is 2,400 watt hours. Great, outstanding. The Oupes 2,400 is 2,232 watt hours, right? Pretty close, within 150, 180 watts. That's fine. But the EB240, the Bluetti, you're looking at an inverter that puts out continuous a max of 1,000 watts, which is not bad depending on what you're going to use it for. But the Oupes 2,400 puts out 2,400 continuous watts all the time. So you have a lot more capacity to do more things with this, right? Now let's take a look at the price. The EB240 for 2,400 watt hours is, let's say, 900 bucks. So let me get my calculator. I'll do it right now with you all. $900. So we got 900 divided by 2,400 for the amount of hour. That's 38 cents per watt hour. That is an outstanding price. Outstanding. But then we're taking a look at the Oupes, which has 2,232 watt hours, and you can pick it up for about $1,050. So we're going to say about $1,050, and you divide that by 2,232. It comes out to 47 cents per watt hour. So that's roughly 10 cents per watt hour more, but you can do a lot more with it. It has a solar input of 960 watts, all right, the Oupes does, where the Bluetti EB240 has a solar input of, I believe it's either 500 or 600. So it's not that bad. But the Oupes, you have a much faster solar input, and both of them have a block charger. So it depends on what you're going to need it for. It depends on whether you want to be able to power like outside tools and things that take a lot of energy at once. But if you're just going to use it for like a refrigerator and that's it, I think it's a great price. And I know for a fact that it's a good machine, that Bluetti EB240, because I had one for years. It's one of my very first solar generators, and they're very simple. So yeah, that's a really good buy, Alphonse. Really good buy. Let's see. Let's bring it on now. Okay, let's say thank you very much, Johnny. Thank you very much. Let me see. Give a shout out and a prayer for. Yes, well, thank you, Johnny. I already did. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. A nurse for you. How are you doing? A nurse for you. Snakebite is in the house. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Jacqueline Johnson is in the house as well. Welcome, Jacqueline. Oh, my goodness. John H., thanks again, John H. This country is going mad. I'm ashamed of the country I was born in. Your back is doing better. Awesome. Good for you, man. But I'm still waiting on the MRI results. We'll find out on Thursday. Knee isn't doing so good as I had 120 kilogram man on it. Well, 120 kilogram, I believe, is about 250 pounds or so. And that is not good. That is not good. Reaper Militia, how you doing? Yep, stack up that grub. I have to agree with you 100%. Stack it up. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you are paying less for food today than you were paying last year? Put me in all caps, all right? Put me in all caps if you are paying less for food today, in general, I mean. I don't mean if you're paying less for one item, all right, that's a one-off. I mean, in general, is your grocery bill less today than it was a year or 2 years ago? Let me know if it was. Just say, me, I'm paying less this year than I was last year or the year before. So anyways, that's why you put away food. I hope that you all took advantage of that sale that Nutrient Survival had that went through Friday. That was such an awesome sale. And I'm glad for the people that did take advantage of it. But put away food, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've got all of your pantry full, at least 1 year supply of food in your pantry, then you do want to go ahead and maybe stock up some long-term food storage like rice, beans in bulk, where you can do it in bulk and put it away in what I like to call deep storage. Right? Put it away where you're not going to open into that unless you really have to, because there's some kind of a crisis that is making you do so. And then you also want to put away like freeze-dried foods as well, because freeze-dried foods do have their place in a prepper's pantry. I've talked about it before, about all the benefits of freeze-dried foods. And if you've never looked at Nutrient Survival, I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just telling you to click on the link and take a look at what they offer, and take a look at the nutrition and compare it to any other food you want. I don't care what food you compare Nutrient Survival's nutrition to. You're not going to find any other food that has all the nutrition that you need like that does. And a lot of people are always talking about how that it's expensive. I don't think it is. Not when you compare it to other long-term food storage. I don't think it's expensive compared to like Mountain House and some of the other popular ones like Numana and those other high-tier ones. It's not. And you're getting all of those nutrients. But I think that freeze-dried foods do have a place in a pantry. However, if you can only buy those things that are like rice and beans, that's a heck of a lot better than nothing. Let me tell you that right now. Let's see. Let's bring it on down some more. How far behind am I? Hey, I'm catching up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm catching up. Let's see. Oh, someone has a great question. If you have a question, make sure it's in all caps, okay? That way I don't miss it. But I just caught this one. Let me see if it'll pop up there. I'm just gonna say what this person said here. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, my computer is so jacked up. Okay, there it is. Kathy asks, AP, what do you think about having a gold and silver Roth IRA? Now, I do work with a gold and silver company that does IRAs. It's called Genesis Gold Group. I also work with ITM Trading, who doesn't work with IRAs. They just do physical. Genesis Gold Group also does physical. So any one of my links that you use, you can get physical. But if you want to do a Roth IRA or an IRA with your gold and silver, Genesis Gold Group is the only one that does it. However, I will say this, all right, even though they're one of my sponsors, I think that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. All right. And so why are you saying that then, AP? Why are you partnered with Genesis Gold Group if you don't believe in Roth IRAs? This is why. First of all, like I said again, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. ITM Trading is one of those that works directly with you, and they actually teach you about gold and silver and allow you to ask all the questions you want. So I recommend that people go to ITM Trading, but I also recommend that they go to Genesis Gold Group. Why? Even though they do Roth IRAs. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if I had a choice, if I didn't have a choice, that I was working, and I'm not in this position, but I'm just putting myself like in that position. Let's say, for example, I'm still in the middle of my work life. Let's say I still have 10 or 15 years to retire. I have a 401k or an IRA or whatever it is, and I can't take that money out because I have to either quit my job or be fired in order to take that money out. And that's how IRAs work predominantly, I believe. Well, I would rather have that IRA in an account that represents it in gold and silver. I would rather have it in an account that represents gold and silver, even though I can't take that out, right? I do believe that they have some gold and silver IRA accounts out there where they actually let you take possession of the gold and silver physical, right? But you can always call them and ask them about that and just talk to them. The reason why I have more than like one gold and silver partner is because I like competition, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to send you to one and that's it. No, on top of the ones that I have, go ahead and look at 5 or 6 more. Don't ever make a decision on the choices that you get from one person or one recommendation. Always look for more. Look for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more, however many you want to look for, and then decide which one is going to be the best for you. Don't just look at one because AP said, hey, I think these guys are good. No, look at several. I like competition. I was actually talking with my representative over at ITM Trading, and he asked me, he was like, Rudy, why do you have more than one, silver and gold dealer on your description? And I told him exactly that. I said, Justin, because I like competition. I said, why should I only, advertise for just your company? And he said, you know what? That's going to make me work even harder. And you know what competition does, ladies and gentlemen? Competition makes it better for the consumer. It gives the consumer better prices and it gives the consumer a better product. And I like competition. But anyways, if I had nowhere else to go, if I couldn't convert that IRA into cash and then go and get gold and silver where I can hold it, then the second best thing is, well, I would rather put that fiat currency into a gold and silver IRA. So I don't think that I would recommend it if you were able to take the money out and convert it into gold and silver. But if that's the only choice you have, then I would say that's the next best thing. Although I do believe that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Why? Because if any major crises happen, people are always talking about like confiscation. Well, can gold and silver be confiscated like it was back in 1933 and stuff like that, right? So the government can do whatever they want, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, look at New Mexico and ask yourself, can the government do whatever they want? They can do whatever they want, all right? But I feel that if they ever fall into like a period where they want to confiscate gold and silver, I think they'll do it, but not from the average citizen. Not from your citizen, like even your regular citizen. Like, let's say that I was holding 10,000 ounces of silver, let's say, for example. That's nothing. 10,000 ounces of silver is nothing to the government, to a government who's going in debt at a rate of $5.9 billion a day, right? So a government that's going into debt at a rate of about $5 billion a day, 10,000 ounces of silver is nothing, ladies and gentlemen. But where can they get hordes of silver and hordes of gold? Well, these IRA companies, they can do it from them. They can do it from mines. They can do it from depositories or depositories, I think is what you call them, right? I was going to say suppositories. But they can do it from those places, right? So that's what I think they would do if they ever nationalize gold and silver, is that they would take it from mines and from places that had big vaults and stuff. They would just claim martial law or something like that, or they would claim a natural emergency, right? They would just they'll claim a health emergency, right, ladies and gentlemen, a health emergency. And they were like, well, we're going to go ahead and take the silver, but we're not going to do it for 30 days. Anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and bring it down some more. There you go, Boone. Like Miss Lynette Zhang states, and I just happen to be partners with ITM Trading, whom belongs to Miss Lynette Zhang. So yeah, I love ITM Trading. I think they're awesome. Let's see. Okay. What time is it? Wow, we're already into this for an hour. That's incredible. Incredible. Keisha Wagner, how are you doing? Good to see you. Mary Marks, good to see you. Amy Lou, good to see you as well. Copernicus is in the house. Hey, Copernicus, did you send me your address? I already mailed off all those coins from the super chat winners for August. They're all mailed out. And I haven't checked my email, Copernicus. So if you haven't sent me your address, send it. And if you have, that's fine. I'll get that mailed out this week, and I'll let you know when I mail it out. Sparky's Run, how you doing? Good to see you. That's why I like having live streams like this every once in a while, like at a random time and random day, because I get to see a lot of you all that I don't regularly get to see. But I think we're going to start having a live stream every Sunday from now on. So every Friday and every Sunday from now on, I think we're going to start having a live stream. All right. We'll see how this week goes. But the closer that we get to October, the closer that we'll start having 2 live streams every single week, like we did before, every Friday and Sunday. Let's see. UK Canner, how are you, UK Canner? And thank you. 5 a.m. starts. Here's something for the turkeys. Hey, thank you very much. Oh, it's 5 a.m. there. Thank you so much, UK Canner. Oh, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to show you all actually a feel-good story that someone sent me today. All right. And I was also going to show you all some pictures that I took with some of the nutrient survival characters while I was over at Reno, Nevada. All right. So let me go ahead and let me bring it down. If you could, let me see where we at. I'm about 10 minutes behind right now and looking for questions. So if you could hold off on your questions until I catch up and then I share those pictures with you and that story, and then we can do a few more minutes of Q&A. All right. And because I want you to see those pictures. They're pretty cool. So let me see. Eyes to See says, I bought a Bluetti 2400 last May when you recommended it. Now you never talk. Well, the reason that I never talk about it is because I purchased that one, right? When I first purchased it. And I never purchased any more Bluetti products. You know why? Because they won't ship here. So I got very lucky when I was able to get that Bluetti shipped to me, but they won't ship here now. So that's why I never talk about it, because I can't even review their products. That's why. But I've still always said whenever someone brings up the Bluetti name, Bluetti is still, in my opinion, a good company. I really like the Oupes. Let me tell you why. Because Oupes is keeping it simple. All right. When you take and I'm not saying anything bad about Bluetti. All right. Bluetti is a very good solar generator company. Very good. Okay. I would never say anything bad about them, like you shouldn't buy them. Not at all. If you think that the Bluetti is right for you, by all means, get a Bluetti. Okay. But let me tell you why I prefer the Oupes. Number one, they ship to Alaska. All right. Plain and simple. They ship to Alaska. I think they're about the only company that ships to Alaska. Big solar generators. Right. Because you could probably get the really small ones shipped up here. But the big solar generators, they ship to Alaska, number one. But it's that you get so much for your money. And the quality is there. And they're still innovating. Right. So like, for example, this Mega 5, 5,000 watt hours, 4,000 continuous watts. That's huge. All right. And it's got, I think it's a 7,000 watt surge. You can use a dryer. You can run a clothes dryer with this machine. You can power an RV. You can pretty much power your entire house, depending on what appliances it is that you have running, obviously, or at least those appliances that you need to run during a grid down situation. You can power all of them easily. All right. But then look at the price. If you go to Bluetti and Simplicity, all right, Simplicity, it works on like 3 or 4 different buttons and that's it. All right. It has an app that you can, or you don't have to use if you don't want to, or you don't need to use it. Now, if you go to Bluetti and you take a look at their model that sells for that has like 5,000 watt hours, it's a lot more expensive than this one. That model for Bluetti, it runs like a little over $5,000, whereas this Mega 5 runs about $3,500. After you use my coupon code, ladies and gentlemen, it only runs about $3,200, which to some people is a lot, but it's really not a lot for what you're getting compared to the Bluetti. With the Bluetti, you don't have a 4,000 continuous watt. I think you have like 3,000 continuous watts with that 5,000 watt hour model. And with that model as well, from me looking at it, one of the things that I really don't like is that one point of failure. So with the Bluetti, it's got the touch screen, but what happens if that touch screen fails? That's the thing. I like buttons, because buttons usually last a very long time. And if a button breaks, it's usually easy to fix, because it's usually just a little spring, right? So that's why I, prefer Oupes. Number one, they ship to Alaska. Number two, I think their quality is there. They're always innovating. Their models, as far as price goes, are very, very competitive with other models that have been around for a very long time. Okay. So good question, by the way. Thank you for that. Hey, doggone it. Thank you, doggone it. This is for about, oh, that's funny. This is for about 2 pounds of turkey. It's getting expensive. We're lucky. We're also just filling in and just have no more room. That's a great place to be in when you just don't have any more room. All right. But remember, you got to rotate, right? You keep rotating. I believe that if you're a prepper and you don't rotate your pantry, you just put things in a corner, that you're a hoarder and not a prepper. All right. So rotate your stuff. Absolutely. My husband won't let me get rid of any more of it. Listen, doggone it. If your husband is watching, let me give him this message. Just don't blame me for your things coming up missing and getting replaced with 5-gallon buckets of rice. All right. At least you won't be starving. Waylon, how you doing? Waylon Messelon, or McKellen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Waylon McKellen. How are you doing? Good to see you. Crazy Colombian in the house, all the way from Miami. Welcome. Man, I already forgot what it is that I was going to talk to you all about after I caught up. Oh, I was going to show you all the pictures. All right. That's enough. I'm not going to get distracted anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Granny74. Thank you so much. I have to say one other thing before I forget this. You are all awesome, ladies and gentlemen. We had a community member, her and her husband, who were up here in Fairbanks, and they sent me an email, and they said, hey, we're going to be in Fairbanks on the 3rd of September, right? And the 3rd, and they want to meet up. And I was like, absolutely. I'll go meet up. No problem. That'd be fun. And it just happened that the 3rd of September was the day that I went to Reno, Nevada. So I wasn't able to meet up with them. Obviously, they left before I got back. So they sent me an email, and they left me a small package at the hotel they were staying in with my name so that I can go pick up. And I went and picked that up today, and I'll talk about it. Maybe during our next live stream, I'll show you everything that they sent and everything. But first, I want to give them a call to say thank you personally. But it's truly been a blessing. You know, I have to say it's truly been a blessing. So thank you. Yolanda Jackson is in the house. Maggie Smith. Let's see. KB Force, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, that's great. If you got that for a good deal, Angela, that's great. Angela found some canned meat by Butcher Board that has an expiration best buy date of 2028. As long as the can has not been compromised, i.e. rusty, dented, any holes in it or anything like that, it should be it should be good well beyond 2028, as long as you properly store it. Okay, so good for you. Hopefully you got that on a good deal. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Daughter of the King of Kings, how are you, Rita? Our monthly grocery bill has gone up at least an extra $400 a month more. I honestly believe, I haven't really been keeping track, religiously. I honestly believe that ever since I went on carnivore, i.e. carnivore, ketovore, that my grocery bill's gone down. Because you know what I'm having for dinner tonight, ladies and gentlemen? First of all, the only thing I've had all day is coffee with some cream in it. That's it, right? And then for dinner, we're having some scrambled eggs with some steak. That's it. That's all I'm having. I eat once a day. I think my grocery bill's gone down. Is meat expensive? It is expensive. But when you only eat a pound of meat to a pound and a half of meat a day, and eggs, which are kind of pricey, but they're not that pricey, your grocery bill is really not going to be that much. Let's see. Well, you know what? A Nurse for You has a great comment here. I wish my kids would like nutrient survival. I have to freeze dry my own. Oh, that's great that you freeze dry your own, though. But you know what? And the thing is that it's not for everyone. Everyone's not going to have the same palate, right? I can sit here and say, oh my God, I love this. This is so good. I was actually able to eat some nutrient survival lasagna from the pot that they were making it in, right? When I was visiting. It was so good, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't had pasta in 8 months, and I ate 3 pieces of noodles like this big. It was so good, right? But some people may try and say, like, oh my goodness, I just don't like this. Well, first thing you have to remember is that it doesn't matter what kind of freeze-dry food or emergency food you have. It doesn't matter what you get. It's not going to be your grandmother's cooking or your mother's cooking. It never will. It's not meant to be, right? It's meant to be for many different palates, so that many different palates can be able to eat it without plugging their nose, right? That's what it's meant to be, because they don't want to just make it for one type of a palate. They want to make it for as broad an amount of different types of people with different palates as they can. Why? Because they sell more, right? Just plain and simple. It's business. However, if you like the nutrition and nutrient survival, but you don't necessarily like the entrees, you can get the cookies. If you don't like the cookies, and I'm talking about getting these things like for the nutrition, because trust me, nutrient survival has the nutrition. That's the most important thing about that food, is that the nutrition is there. So you can get the cookies, or you can get the drinks. The drinks are like vitamin blends. You can just have those vitamins. And the good thing about their proprietary vitamins and nutrients is that, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't understand that when you like take vitamins, a lot of times the vitamins counteract each other. And even though you're taking them, your body's not really absorbing them, right? Because they're working against each other. Well, what Nutrient Survival has done is that their blend that they put in all of their ingredients in their foods, right? The blend that they put in there, they're put in there in a way where they don't counteract with each other, and your body is getting the most out of those nutrients and vitamins that you're ingesting that it can possibly get. That's the big deal about Nutrient Survival, is that you're not only ingesting those nutrients, but your body is using them. All right. And your body's not going to overdose on any of them. The only nutrients or vitamins that you can overdose on is your fat soluble vitamins. A lot of people are like, well, if I eat 3 or 4 servings of this a day, then I'm going to overdose on vitamin whatever. Unless it's vitamin A, E, D, and K, you can overdose on those because they're fat soluble. It would take a lot. But the other ones, if you eat or consume more than what you need in a day, your body will just get rid of what it doesn't need, either through your urine or through your other side. All right. So simply said, hopefully that makes sense. But if I wasn't going to eat this stuff, I would definitely get, there you go. There's my immune boost right there. I would definitely get the immune boost, the berry blend, the what's the other one they came out with? They got the immune boost, the berry blend. I think it's the liquid nutrient. I think it's called. Patricia Angermeyer, can I buy a generator on layaway? If you're talking about like with Oupes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they have that thing where you have an option to pay for like in 4 months. But ladies and gentlemen, in all honesty, I would never recommend to anyone to purchase like a solar generator or really anything like on a payment plan. I would never recommend that. Obviously, I can't tell you what to do. So if you're looking to like purchase something like that, just save up and then purchase it once you have the money. I just don't think it's a good idea to do that. Okay, let's look. Doggone it. That's funny, doggone it. Man, doggone it, you're collecting all of those AP coins. Man, you won last month. All right, you won one of these guys last month for your super chat, and then you ordered a bucket from Nutrient Survival. Don't worry, if it came out to $199, doggone it. If it came out to $199 and you don't receive a coin, you send me an email, you let me know, and I'll make sure you get a coin. All right, because those are the OG coins. All right, those are the OG coins. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this out there in case any of you missed that sale. And I'll probably get in trouble for this, but if I do, I'll just pay for it myself. If any of you missed that sale for Nutrient Survival and you still want to get some, because it's not there anymore, right? If you go and you purchase $200 or more, it has to be at checkout, right? So at checkout, if you purchase $200 or more, and you can still use my code for 10% off, AP10. So if at checkout, it comes out to $200 or more, you send me an email with a print screen of your order, all right, of what you ordered, and I'll make sure that you get all of the stuff that they were offering during the sale that lasted till Friday, including a coin, all right? And I know that Eric is a really good guy, so I can pretty much say for sure that he'll be like, yeah, no problem. We'll go ahead and grant these guys. But if they don't, because they can't for whatever reason, I'll go ahead and pay the difference, right? Because it's not that huge. It's a great savings, but you get all the goodies. I'm sure that they'll give the goodies away, and I'm willing to get more coins away. So, but anyways, that's up to you if you missed it and you still want some. Steve Gray, thank you very much, Steve. Steve has gifted some more memberships. That is awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are really, really awesome. Thank you so much. And Granny74 just became a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Thank you for your support, Granny. Yeah, Jennifer Cruz. That's what I was gonna say. Instead of depository, and I wouldn't be surprised if the government rated suppositories instead of depositories. Hey, how you doing, Tigger Man? Good to see you. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate that. Manuel Bravo, I only have one freeze dryer, all right? And I gave it to a good friend of mine. So I'm sure if I ever need to like put a load through or whatever for whatever, he'd let me. I'm sure he would. It's not that far away. It's not that far. Oh, hey, Nathaniel Whitehouse, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being so generous. Thank you so much. I have a 1-year supply of food for a family of 5. How do I store enough water? Man, that is very good. A 1-year supply of food for a family of 5. Now, Nathaniel, I don't think that anyone can store enough water. Okay, so now let me go ahead and tell you what my setup looks like. But not everyone could have a setup like mine. What I have is where I live, I have to haul my own water. So I go into town and I have a water transfer tank in the back of my truck. It's 200 gallons. So I go into town where they have what I call the water shack, right? And it's a place where you can purchase water that comes out in a high volume speed or high speed. So it takes me about 2 minutes to fill up roughly 200 gallons of water in the back of my truck. And then I come and I pump it into a couple of cisterns that I have. I have 2 500-gallon cisterns under my house that are in a temperature controlled area. And then I ended up running my own plumbing and putting in a water pump and everything myself. So I have a self-contained water system in my house. And at any one time, I have anywhere between, I would say, at the minimum 600 to about 750 gallons of water at any one time. Because usually whenever one of my tanks gets down to about 200, gets down about halfway or a little above halfway, I go and get a 200-gallon load and I pump it in. Right. So at any one time, if something happened where we can't leave our house for the next 3 months, let's say, we have enough water to survive on for 3 months. Is it going to be easy living where we can do laundry every single day, take a shower every day if we want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? No, but we'll have enough water to survive. Right now, if you live in a place where you have your own property, and you're able to put a tank outside and it doesn't get into freezing temperatures. So I don't know where you live, Nathaniel, but if you have a place where you can maintain a tank, I would get like a 2,500 gallon tank. They usually have 8-foot diameter and they're usually about 8 foot tall. 2,500 gallon tank, you could probably buy for about $1,500. 2,500 gallons, that's 500 gallons per person in your family. If you go by the standard 1 gallon per day per family, that's 500 days of water just to survive. But being that you have 2,500 gallons and you want to say go for 6 months, then there you go. Then you have about 2-3 gallons per person per day, or 5 gallons per person per day, which is pretty good living. If you can spend 25 gallons of water per day for a family of 5 for cooking, brushing teeth, maybe having a squat bath or something like that. So you can do that. If you live in a place where it's cold, where it gets really cold, you have 2 options. You can either insulate that tank, all right, or you can take that tank and put it in your garage and have it full of water in your garage and rotate that water out all the time. And then that water will be fresh by the time that you ever need it, if you ever need it, right? So you can do that. The most important thing to have, all right, instead of water, in my opinion, in addition to water, is a good water filtration system. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much water you put away, you'll eventually run out if the circumstances say so. So depending on what the crisis is, you can run out of water and then there's no more. But you can always get dirty water from somewhere, from a pond, from a lake, heck, even from a puddle, and you can filter that water out. So in addition to having a good, I would say, if you have limited room, a good 1 month supply of water by having 60 to 100 gallons, maybe a couple of 55-gallon barrels full of water that you rotate out every 6 months. In addition to that, make sure that you have a good water filtration system, preferably a gravity fed. I think that during normal times, a reverse osmosis water filtration system is the way to go. But you have to have water pressure for that. Unless you purchase the zero water filtration system, like from Amazon. Those are awesome. But when you compare the filters to others, then depending on how much you use it, it might get a tiny bit pricey, but I think that they're awesome and I think that they're worth it. But during regular times, make sure you have a reverse osmosis water filtration system. And by the way, if you don't, check out my link, because Simpure, I think Simpure makes a great water filtration system at a really good price, tell you the truth. And if you don't have one, if you don't want to have one of the ones that go under your sink, they have one that you can use for a countertop that is pretty much a plug and play. All right. So again, to recap, I would definitely get the biggest tank that I could get if I have my own property, and either keep it outside or keep it in your garage, and make sure that you rotate that water. But make sure that you have a good water filtration system, one during regular times, reverse osmosis, and definitely a gravity fed one like a Berkey for times when you don't have electricity or where electricity is hard to come by. So thank you very much. That was very generous super chat, and I hope that I answered your question. Hello, Laura W. Good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, let's see. Jeffrey. How you doing, Jeffrey? Jeffrey Lindquist asked, how are the chickens doing? They are getting big. They're doing really good. They're eating more and more. So maybe I'll do a video here later on. I have that review video that I have to do, and it's an outside video. So I'll go ahead and show you the chickens then. Or maybe the next time that I chit chat with you all during like a news video, I'll do it outside and hang out with the chickens with you all. But yeah, they're getting big. They're all doing really good. They seem to be happy. I love giving them pieces of fat because, like fat trimmed from meat, because, man, they love that stuff. And it's so funny. I just gave them some this morning from last night's dinner. And I only had like maybe 4 or 5 pieces, and I left them in big pieces. It's so funny seeing them run around, pecking at each other, trying to get the pieces out of each other's mouths. It's hilarious. But what they'll do is they'll take a piece and they'll run away with it. And even if there's like 4 or 5 pieces on the ground, one chicken will take a piece, run away with it, and the other chickens will follow her, running after her, even though there's more food on the ground. They just love to chase each other around. All right, Granny 74, have a great day, all right, and a good week ahead. All right, so let's see. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone here that has a YouTube channel, go ahead and post your link, and hopefully my mods will catch it and approve it. Because if you post a link, I don't think it'll show itself unless one of my mods goes ahead and approves it. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't say this nearly enough, but thank you very much to our moderators. All right, to Jan, to JT, to Yarn Prepper, to Copernicus, also known as Miss Worm. Thank you, ladies. For example, they didn't even know that I was going to do a live stream today, and they're all here. So thank you so much. Okay, let's see. All right, now I'm serious now. I'm bringing this all the way down, okay? I've been saying that for how long now? That's because you all keep asking me questions, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. Oh, let's see. What do we have here? Oh, my goodness. My computer is back at it. Man, I'll tell you. Let's see. Okay, let me say thank you very much to Randy is Free. Is this from the Wolf Pack? Awesome. Thank you, Randy. F. Pier, thank you again, F. Pier. Tip Top Girl, thank you so much. Let's go back to the chats here real quick. All right, now I'm going to bring it all down for sure. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Cutting tool designer. Thank you. Man, you guys are being so generous today. Thank you so much. Let's do another few turkeys for the giveaway. Thank you. Man, we are going to make the turkeys so awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you the pictures that I got, all right, that I was going to share with you. first, let's go ahead and share this feel-good story real quick. So someone, if you have a feel-good story, go ahead and send it to me at my Intel email address, all right? It's my Intel email address and my regular email address are in the description of all of my videos, right? Just scroll down and you'll see them both, okay? So don't send me like questions to my Intel email address. You can send me stories and links of stories, whether they're feel-good stories or anything that's in the news that's interesting. And then my other email address, if you have like a question on a solar generator or a general question on preparedness or stuff like that, you can always send that to my other email address, the SFC one, and I'll get back to you once I get to your email. Sometimes it takes a while, right? But someone sent me this story today, and it's of an awesome little girl and her mother. I think they started doing it back in 2016. Back in 2016, they started traveling across the country to different states. And what the little girl does is she travels to give police officers hugs. Is that awesome or what? So they started doing this and it caught on, and they've been doing it for like the last 6 or 7 years. So I think that's really, really awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't agree with a lot of the things that police officers have to do, but I think that we need good police officers, patriot police officers that can follow the Constitution and know when to say no to an unlawful order, for instances such as what's happening in New Mexico right now. So whenever you look at a police officers, what is it that you hear about police officers on the news? Usually only when bad things happen. All right. That's why I think that this was a good story to look at, because when you hear about police officers or law enforcement, you only hear about the bad things. You don't hear about the good things. You don't hear about the guys that risked their lives to save this person or save that person. The guy that didn't care, what they had to go through to go save this person. The ones that actually run towards gunfire to save people. You don't hear those stories often enough. We hear the bad stories. So it's important for us to acknowledge that there are good police officers out there. I know that for a fact, right? 3 of my very best friends that I grew up with, they're all police officers. One of them just retired, actually. So that's awesome. He retired back in February, which is great, right? But I know they're good police officers. You know why? Because I know that they're good people. They have good hearts, right? That's what it takes. So we have to acknowledge that, right? I won't beat a dead horse. We have to acknowledge that. So thank you to the person that sent me this story. Very, very awesome. Now let's take a look at a few pictures. Let's see. Well, that's me and Eric. Eric is the CEO of Nutrient Survival, and that was in the Wolf's Den. That was the same day that we did that live stream on my channel. Oh, actually, that's the day that we did the live stream on their channel, on the Nutrient Survival channel. If you haven't checked out the Nutrient Survival YouTube channel, go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to find people that are more generous than Eric and his Nutrient Survival crew. And you know what? I'm so glad I took that trip over there, because it just solidified in me what I've been saying for a long time, that it's not just the company that's awesome, it's the people behind it. And Eric and Becky and Bobby, Raul, Grant, all of those people that I've been talking to over the phone and teleconference for the last several years, they're just as awesome, if not more awesome in person than what they are behind the camera. So go check them out. Go subscribe to their channel, to Nutrient Survival. If one of my mods could put up the Nutrient Survival YouTube channel up, go subscribe to their channel, ladies and gentlemen. They're always doing giveaways. They are always doing giveaways, and they've got some giveaways to be doing. I believe this month they'll be doing a giveaway, I think once or twice every week. And their giveaways aren't like a little $5 giveaway. No, their giveaways are big. All right. And on top of that, for those of you that maybe don't know because you didn't see that live stream, Eric donated 100 turkey dinners for our Thanksgiving turkey charity giveaway. So he's donating 100 turkey dinners that are going to be going to service members' families. Unfortunately, a lot of military service members and their families are actually on welfare because they need money for food more so than what they are provided by the military paycheck. And me talking to Eric about this during the live stream that I had while I was over there, he decided to give away 100 turkey dinners. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is like $4,000. So it's not chump change, right? So anyways, that's Eric right there. And let's see, what's our next one? The next one's coming. Okay, so this is a picture. Obviously, this is a picture of me and Becky, all right, in her office. And then the one that's in the bottom right hand corner, that's me and Bobby. now, no one really knows what Bobby looks like. A couple of people I think might know what he looks like, but no one really knows what Bobby looks like. And everyone's always asking, well, what does Bobby look like? Can we see Bobby? Well, for that sale that we had going on with Nutrient Survival, one of the prizes is one person will be picked randomly that placed an order, and they are going to be able to have a teleconference with Becky, with Eric, myself, and with Bobby, and they'll be able to see the infamous Bobby without a happy face over his face, right? And then, oh, wait a minute, I almost forgot the last one. That right there is Bobby Raul. I didn't know if Raul would want his face on YouTube, so I covered him up. But that right there, we went to a Brazilian restaurant. You know the ones where they cut the meat and they come and give you meat whenever they want. And you see that if you see where I'm sitting and you see my water cup, you'll see that I'm pointing at a little disc that is red. They give you a little disc that is red on one side and green on the other side. And when it's green, the waiters, they come by with a big chunk of meat and they give you meat. They cut off meat for you, right? And when you've had enough and you put it on red, then they stop coming by. But we went to this restaurant. Eric took me out and took out Bobby and Raul. And ladies and gentlemen, we ate I ate so much meat that when I got back to the hotel, I loosened my belt. I plopped myself on the bed and I fell asleep like in less than 2 minutes. So it was pretty awesome. I had a really good time. Eric allowed me to drive his Tesla while I was there, so that was pretty good as well. All right, so it was a great time. I think that Nutrient Survival is probably one of the very best, if not the best, companies that I've ever dealt with, and it's really been a blessing to get to know them over the years. So let's see here. I think that we have one super chat by David Bickle. Thank you very much, David, for the super chat. Truly do appreciate it. And just in case, for those of you that may not know, those of you, because I think I've seen some super chats today from people that maybe I haven't seen before. So if you did do a super chat, you're entered to win a 2023 edition Alaska Prepper Silver Coin. Now, it's only a 10th ounce, but the reason that I do this is I think I'm going to do it every year, and I think I did it last year for a little bit, is to raise money for the turkeys. That's why I like to do it, is to raise money for the turkeys, and it allows me to just give a little bit back instead of just asking, right? So you actually have a chance to win one of those coins. And if you win it, I'll definitely mail it to you along with a sticker and along with an OG AP card as well. All right, so okay. What time is it? It's 2:30 in the afternoon. It's almost time for dinner. Look at this. Doggone it says, I keep hearing Bobby is good looking, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. Well, you know what? I was talking with Bobby and Becky. I think it was the first day I was there. They picked me up and they took me to dinner when they picked me up from the airport, because it was late in the, well, not late, but like mid-afternoon when they picked me up from the airport. So they took me to dinner, and then we went to a little town and went sightseeing for about an hour or two after I got picked up. So we were talking, and Bobby says, yeah, I'm 50 years old. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? You're 50? Here I'm thinking that he was like in his late 30s, right? Maybe mid to late 30s. And he's like, I'm 50. I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, wow, we were born in the same cohort. We're both, or all three of us are part of the same cohort, pretty much born within the same 10 years or so. So yeah, and Bob, man, I'll tell you what, well, everyone that I met there is awesome. Awesome people. Let's see. Oh, well, who is this? This is Word Up Russia. Well, welcome, Word Up Russia. That's awesome. You know, I still actually have that very first Goal Zero, the Goal Zero Yeti 1000. It's like one of my very first solar generators. I think my very first ones, I have 3 solar generators that are like my OGs. And one of them I gave away, which is the EB240, the Bluetti. But the other ones was a Duracell. And I actually gave away one of my Duracells. I had two of them. I gave one away to my neighbor because he needed something that would accept batteries so that he can support his wood pellet stove in case we had a grid down situation. So that one I gave to him, but I still have one more of those. And then the other one was my my Goal Zero, Yeti 1000. I still have that one because that one I've got, it's up to 3 batteries. So I've got that one up to like 5,000 watt hours on that unit. It's a very old unit. It's only 1,000 watts, of output. And I think that the max on it is like 1,500 watt, max or surge. So it's not a very powerful unit, but I have 5,000 watt hours on it, and it still works just fine. So because of the number of watt hours that I have on that, I'm going to go ahead and keep it. And I can always add more batteries to it too, which I have an additional 2 batteries that I'm about to add to that. So it's going to bring it up to like 8,000, roughly 8,000 watt hours. So yeah, I do still have that. Thank you very much for being here, Word Up Russia. Thank you very much for being here. Bonnie Bethel is in the house. Good to see you. Meds is here. Good to see you. Jennifer. Oh, I already said Jennifer Cruz. Evil Girl 87. Good to see you. Let's see. JC Fixer. Good to see you, JC Fixer. Welcome. Sunset Gazing is in the house. Let's see. Okay, we're getting close to the bottom here. Let's see. All right, I'll give it a last 2 or 3 minutes for any last questions, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to go eat dinner. I'm not sure if this is going to show up because my computer is slow, but Evita says, I am requesting my husband takes me to that Brazilian restaurant on my birthday on Thursday. The 14th of September is your birthday. I remember, Evita. So I may not see you then. I don't think we'll have a live stream on Thursday, but happy birthday to you on Thursday. And let me tell you right now that I hope that the good Lord blesses you with many more. And we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that next Thursday is going to be a very good day. So a good day for you, Evita. So I can pig out and take a long nap. Oh, goodness. Yeah, you go ahead. You do that. That'll be great. Okay, I think that's it. All right, well, let's go ahead and call it. Let's see. I showed you the pictures. We talked about how it's not going to be a soft landing. So make sure that you continue to prepare, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We talked about, ladies and gentlemen, something very important towards the beginning. So I hope that those of you that weren't here in the beginning are here now. Make sure that you support your truther, meaning channels that speak the truth, and your prepper channels, which are kind of like truther channels also. Make sure that you support these channels, ladies and gentlemen, not just me, but other channels like Economic Ninja, like Hersey Financial, great financial channel, Jay Bravo. There's like a million others, right? I can't name them all, but support these channels because it's important that we continue to put out the word, right? How can you support these channels? If YouTube is not recommending them to you and you're subscribed, come on our channel. YouTube has been drastically down throttling my channel for sure. And now I've heard of a lot of other channels that they're doing the same thing too. And it's very easy to do this because if you don't see the thumbnail of the latest video or a notification, then you're probably not going to watch it. So if you could, make sure that you check and see. I usually put out a video every day. Almost every single day I put out a video about one news thing or another, or a review or another of one thing or another. Always something, right, ladies and gentlemen? That's how we stay in touch. So if you don't see one being recommended to you, come and check it out. Try to watch the entire video. And if you get tired of hearing my voice, go get a coffee and put it on mute. But it really helps a lot when you let the video play through because it helps the algorithm decide to recommend it to more people, right? And also, if you want to support the channel, you don't have to do it through sending money to anywhere, but let an ad or two run through because that also supports the algorithm recommending that video to other people as well. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much. Wait a minute. Let's say thank you very much to Skane's Girl for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Thank you very much and welcome. All right. I hope that you have a great rest of your Sunday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be safe. Have a great week ahead. And we will see you next Friday during our Friday live stream. Having said that, Just look out for any more videos I've got coming out the rest of the week. I have a huge news video coming out tomorrow of about 1,000 things that I wanted to cover that I haven't covered yet. So have a great rest of your day, a safe weekend ahead. God bless every one of you. If you are new to the live stream, if you've never been on the live stream before, meaning in the chats, go ahead and say, I am new in all caps, because at the end of every live stream, we always shout out those of you that are new here by putting your name up on the screen, and then the rest of the community welcoming you to our community. All right, so go ahead and do that during our outro. And having said that, God bless every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I am, just a second, I am out. God bless.